Good evening. It is time for today's Tax Talk. I'm your host. I'm attorney Stephen Levy. Better put the mic in front of me. Stephen Leahy. I think I said that wrong. It is Wednesday, January 25th, the year of our Lord 2023. And there's lots of IRS stuff today. Didn't really know what I should talk about. But we've been talking about the gig economy and that third party, they call it the Cash App rule. And we've been talking a lot about that because the IRS came out and put a halt to it for the year, delayed it. There's been a lot of talk about overturning it. That's what we're going to talk about today. Won't you join us? Let's see if I can get you to join us. Won't you join us? As I said, there's lots of IRS news today. I thought this was the best one, again, because this is what we talk about a lot on the show, is this Cash App. And we'd like to be able to defeat it. Make sure that they stop talking about it. And if we can get rid of this, well, then we could pretty much be assured that they're not going to get, at least not anytime soon. Because let's face it, those in power, the Biden administration and the Democrats, they want this bill. Right, and they also want to go after all of our bank statements, $600 or more in our bank statements. Oh no, it'll be $10,000. No, I would say I think Americans have to flatly say no. We're not going to allow that to happen. And in the meantime, this is just not acceptable. Right? There's other stuff I talk a lot about on this show. I talk a lot about 1099s. And there's some rules, new portal on this. I don't know. Last year was the first rule, the 1099 rule, that attorneys, if you've paid attorney fees for businesses, you're supposed to send a 1099 to the attorney. I don't think a lot of people know that. And there's been some rules about that. Well, maybe we get to it. I hope we can get to it. But maybe we won't even be able to get to it. So I also wanted to first change my background because that's my crypto background. And today's not Crypto Tuesday. Today is just Wednesday. So I wanted to change the background. So let's go to the story. We'll go right to the story. Here's the story. Snoop Scoop. That's the old time newspaper headline. New GOP bill would put stop to IRS's 600 online reporting requirement. It's not really a new bill. They put it out last year in March, called the same thing, the Snoop bill. I found a story that I did last March about this. California Republicans says they won't allow the Biden administration to weaponize government to target hardworking Americans. I am on the same page with them. I believe that's what it's doing. It's weaponizing our government against its people. There's nothing more American than running your own business. I think most Americans, or many Americans, aspire to do that. Wish they can run their own business. Want to run their own business. And work hard to run their own business. And we don't want that to be. And I think that those in power, the IRS and others, would like to stop that from happening. Right? They don't want us to start our own business because they can't control us. Well, let me go back to this. I don't know what happened here. Now it's going to start. So they can't control us. Let me see. And so let's go to the story. A new Republican bill hitting on the floors of Congress would stop the Internal Revenue Service from snooping in Americans' online transactions over $600. Well, we hope that's true, don't we?
President Biden says he has no regrets about his handling of
California Rep. Michelle Steel and Tennessee Senator, both Republicans, introduced to Stop the Nosy Obsession with online payments, the SNOOP Act, to their respective chambers on Tuesday, looking to nix the IRS's new requirement for Americans to report online transactions over $600. We will not allow the Biden administration to weaponize government to target hardworking American taxpayers. I am proud to reintroduce, as I mentioned, this was out last year, the SNOOP Act with Senator Hagerty to ensure the heavy hand of government bureaucracy stays off the necks of families as they go about their daily lives. Selling a piece of furniture or making a few extra dollars babysitting to make ends meet, the California Congresswoman continued. I urge my colleagues to join me in defending the privacy of all Americans and ending the IRS's egregious overreach. It's not the IRS's overreach, right? It's the Biden administration's overreach. And the Democrats, they passed this bill. The IRS is obliged to follow it, even though they're not, right? They decided not to. I don't know how that works, how the IRS can decide, this bill we're going to delay. Well, what about these other bills? No, this bill, though, we're going to delay. Well, isn't that the law? It might be the law, but we're still going to delay. Hagerty told Fox News Digital that the Biden administration has proven relentless in its attempt to invade the privacy of Americans' lives and finances. It is regrettable that this administration still insists on advancing this perilous and obsessive political agenda to the detriment of taxpayers' privacy, heedless of the IRS's failed track record of protecting Americans' confidential data and the deep concern of the American people that they serve. Though Congress efforts to repeal these new requirements were ignored for 2 years, the Biden administration took a politically timed short-term step to save themselves from the consequences of their own actions. But merely delaying this intrusive provision is not enough. It is past time we stand up for our small business owners and put an end to the egregious and unwarranted overreach for good. I agree. And it is an imposition on business people. Again, as I mentioned, a lot of people don't even understand what the rules are. And there's fines if you don't understand the rules. Doesn't mean that you're immune to them, right? So if you have legal fees as a business, and many businesses do nowadays, because business and legal problems are kind of intertwined, and you have hired a lawyer, and you want to deduct it, you have to send them a 1099. You won't be able to deduct that fee. It's a business expense, but they won't let you deduct it. That doesn't make any sense, does it? The Republicans' bill would eliminate the portion of President Biden's American Rescue Plan Act that requires gig workers and other businesses to provide 1099-K reports for transactions over $600 on platforms like PayPal and Venmo to the IRS. Instead, under the GOP bill, reporting would return reporting requirements to the pre-2021 guidelines of payment platforms providing the information when the payee makes more than 200 transactions a year, totaling over $20,000. Again, if you're doing over 200 transactions a year and you're grossing more than $20,000, probably it's a business. And I don't have a problem with having to report that. But that's a high bar. And it should be a high bar. The House Ways and Means Committee, which handles taxation and on which Steele sits, will be taking up the bill in the GOP-controlled lower chamber. The IRS delayed the implementation of this new reporting requirements last month as public outcry grew in response to the new rules. I think it was also the IRS response grew. They can't handle it. They've got too many. They've got too many information returns as it was. 4.7 billion returns. Information returns the year before. With this number, it's sure to go well into the 5, maybe 6 billion returns, information returns. How are they going to process all of those? The agency found itself in hot water earlier this month after a new study of 2022 IRS tax audit data found that a taxpayer in the lowest income bracket, and this is very interesting what we're going to find out here, and it's something I've been talking about for a long time, and is confirmed here. The agency found itself in hot water earlier this month after a new study of 2022 IRS tax audit data found that a taxpayer in the lowest income bracket is 5 times more likely to face an audit than a member of the highest income bracket. And this is why. You'll see why. The Transactional Records Access Clearinghouse at Syracuse University examines internal IRS management reports each month, and the group noticed different trends by reviewing 2022 data. Most notably, the group looked at audits, particularly considering the agency relying more heavily on automatically produced letters sent to taxpayers. That's what happens with 1099s. That's why they want these 1099s to go out. The data showed that the IRS conducted 85% of its audits through these letters. Okay, so that's where they're coming from. It's all electronic. And people with less income are more likely to be tracked by the government, right? And to get these 1099s from all of these government entities and make sure that they know exactly what they're getting. And then comparing that when they're asking for an earned income tax credit, which request additional information and documentation related to the specific items of interest. Overall audits dropped from 659,003 in fiscal year 2021 to 626,204 in fiscal year 2022 out of 164 million income tax returns filed last year. The rate of income tax audits for those in the lowest income bracket hit 12.7 per 1,000 compared to 2.3 per 1,000 among those in the highest, a nearly five-fold increase. The odds of a millionaire facing an audit were around 1.1%. The track report claimed that the lack of attention toward millionaires resulted from severe budget cutbacks over the years. I just don't buy that. That's not true. There haven't been budget cutbacks. Their budget has gone up, just not as much as they want it to go up. That's the difference. That's their cutback. And that's always government cutbacks, isn't it? It's not really a cutback at all, is it? It's just a decrease in the rate of increase. That forced the IRS to shift its focus to easy marks in an era when the IRS increasingly relies upon correspondence audits, yet doesn't have the resources to assist taxpayers or answer their questions. And that's where they're going to go. I tell you right now, this is where they're going with the money, right? For enforcement. The enforcement's money they're gonna convert into computer, right? Look at what AI is doing now. They're going to be able to look at put all of these information returns into a computer, and it's going to kick out, and it's already doing it. And it's going to kick out these audits automatically. Nobody even has to look at it, so they don't need more people. They're just going to use the money for the computers, right? And they want to track all of us. So they're going to try to pass more of these laws, not less of them. So now the Republicans take over the House, and they're saying, "Well, we're going to step back." The trend is more, not less, and so we have to object to this. We can't let that happen. Again, remember last year they wanted to come after all of our bank accounts, and then there's no need to be audited because they're going to file the return for you. That's what Elizabeth Warren wants, right? Everybody's bank accounts are audited and reported to the government. The government looks at your bank account, determines how much money you made, and determines how much tax you're going to pay. And they send you a notice. It's done automatically. You don't even have to fill out your tax return. But Attorney Leahy, what about all the deductions? There won't be any deductions. Does that make any sense? Well, of course it doesn't. But it makes it easy for government, and they get more money. And that's what they're after, more money from those that they disagree with. Who is more disagreeable to the Democrats than business owners? I'd say by and large, business owners are not Democrats. That doesn't mean they're Republicans, but they're certainly not Democrats. They certainly don't support the IRS taking more of their money or having their privacy invaded. So this is a natural opponent of Democrats, and that's why they're going after them. I think it's that simple. Now, I have these other stories. Let's see if I just touch on them. IRS aims to cut back on some 1099 paperwork to the new portal. So remember, last year, it was reported, I think it was in March of last year, they reported that 30 million information returns were discarded without processing. 30 million. And so the IRS doesn't have the capacity to process these paper returns. The IRS says, well, that's only 1%. What's 30 million? That means 3 billion were filed. The next year, 4.7 billion were filed. Let that sink in. And that's before this 1099K requirement or the 1099B comes out or the 1099DA, digital asset, starts coming out. And how is the IRS going to process all of them? Well, they can't do it by paper. And they have already required larger employers and businesses to use electronic filing. It's required. It's not they don't have an option. And so, small business and the individual, they don't have the capacity to file electronically. So now they're coming up with this portal to make them file electronically, right? They don't want you to do it paper. I can understand it, but that's what's happening. So here's a bill to abolish the IRS, likely dead in the House. GOP. I think that's probably true. Even if the Republicans are in charge. Can't get rid of the IRS, they're saying. And this other bill, it's just not, I don't think it's politically feasible. So that's why I didn't really talk that much. IRS harshly punishes taxpayers who accidentally break the rules. Well, I was just talking about that, wasn't I? About 1099s. That if you don't even know that you're supposed to send in that 1099 and you fail to do it because you don't know it, there's still fines every month with interest. Take your money. You do what we tell you, even if you don't know we told you. Well, you're supposed to know, right? Ignorance of the law. You've heard that before. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Okay, so that's where we are. Thanks so much for joining us. I wanted to make sure that one of these times I'm going to remember to do this at the beginning and ask you to like and subscribe right at the beginning. Since some people don't get to the end. Like and subscribe. We need your help. We need to get this out. We need your help to do that. So thanks so much to do that for us. And also, if you have a tax problem, if you have unfiled tax returns and you don't know what to do, get a copy of my book, Deal with Your IRS Problem Today. Go to freeirsbook.com. freeirsbook.com. Get your free copy. And I will pay for the publishing. But I'm going to ask you to pay for the shipping and handling. If you go today, I will pay for the audiobook. I have an audiobook, and that audiobook comes with a chapter-by-chapter review by me, a video. So I'll give you the audiobook. It comes with a PDF version of the book, so you don't even have to wait for it to be shipped to you. But you have to buy the book, pay for shipping, and I'll throw that in for free. But you got to do it today. So thanks so much. We'll see you again tomorrow, where we'll find more IRS stories to talk about. I hope you can join us then. God bless you, and we are out.